My friends, we have been learning and reading all about Martin Luther King Jr. Remember, our story was Happy Birthday, Martin Luther King. We were reading this story about his life and all of the kind things that he was doing. My friends, remember, this is the title on our cover page. Can you say title? The title is Happy Birthday, Martin Luther King. And remember, at the bottom of our book, or in smaller words, there's always an author and an illustrator. The author writes the words, and the illustrator draws the pictures, remember? The illustrator is J. Brian Pinkney. That means Brian Pinkney drew all of the pictures and illustrations in the book. We can tell that he drew them because you can see the lines he made with his pencil on this picture of Martin Luther King and these children on our front cover of our book. This is not a photograph or a picture of him. This is an illustration, or you can say drawing. Now let's look at a photograph or picture of him. This is a picture, a photograph of Martin Luther King Jr. A photograph is a picture someone took with a camera. Martin Luther King Jr. is in the illustration, the drawing of this book, but he's also in this photograph, in this picture somebody took with a camera. Remember, he was a real person. That's why we have a photograph, a picture of him. He was real, so somebody could take a picture of him with a camera. But we could also draw him and make an illustration. Remember, the illustrator draws, the illustrator draws. Hi-ho, did you know the illustrator draws? My friends say illustration, photograph. Martin Luther King Jr. My friends, it's a little bit easier to see who this is in this photograph than it is to see who this person is in the drawing. You might have photographs and pictures on your mommy's phone. My friends, what is Martin Luther King Jr. doing in this illustration? Remember, we've been talking about acts of kindness. In this picture, he's doing an act of kindness. What is he doing in this picture, friends? Pause here and tell us. Martin's job as a minister was to help people in need. He visited sick people in the hospital and made them feel better. Let's look at this illustration. What is Martin Luther King Jr. doing in this illustration, in this picture? Remember, these boys were fighting. He's doing something to help these boys. What is he doing? Pause here and tell us. He asked people not to fight with each other. He said that there were peaceful ways to solve problems. My friends say peaceful, and my friends say solve problems. Here's another illustration. What is Martin Luther King Jr. doing with all of these people? Make sure you pause here and tell us. Martin Luther King Jr. is giving a speech. He's telling everyone about his dream that people everywhere can learn to live peacefully together, and everyone can do many acts of kindness. He wants them to do kind things. His dream was that people everywhere would learn to live together without being mean to one another. Martin Luther King wanted people to be able to go places together, share food together, and love one another in peace. Because he worked so hard for freedom and helped so many people, we honor him every year on his special day. We call this day Martin Luther King Day, and we say to him, "Happy birthday, Martin Luther King." Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King. His name was Martin Luther King. Good job, friends. My friends, can you say dream? Remember, in our book, we heard the word dream. Listen for the word while I read the book again that we heard before. In the summer of 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. gave the most famous speech of his life. He gave it to 250,000 people who had to come to Washington, D.C. to ask the president for jobs and freedom for black people. In his speech, Martin Luther King said that he had a dream. His dream was that people everywhere would learn to live together without being mean to one another. My friends, can you say dream? He wasn't talking about a dream you have if you go to sleep. Was he sleeping? We're talking about a different kind of dream. This dream is to hope or wish that something will happen. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream is that everyone will get along and be nice. It was very important to him that he gave a speech about it to all of these people. So one more time, say dream. I have a dream that all of my friends in our classroom will have lots of fun in pre-K and will be ready for kindergarten next year. Do you have a dream or a wish that something will happen? Pause here and tell us. We just heard all about dreams and wishes. You can also have a dream while you're sleeping. Remember, a dream while you're sleeping is different than the kind of dream Martin Luther King Jr. had. He was awake when he had his dream about everyone being nice to each other. His dream was a wish that he hoped would come true. My friends, say, I have a dream.